it's Patsy. So I popped on today to do a bit of a video response sort of thing to Julia over at Highly Sensitive Tarot. A couple of videos back ago she did a past life reading with some cards that she had, and I had said in the comments that I had these cards and I had done readings with them. I hadn't done one for a while, and she said she'd be interested to see how I worked with this deck. So I had a bit of time over the weekend, so I grabbed them and I'd done a small reading. I didn't go in depth like I do with a lot of my past life readings. I'll probably carry on doing more over the next week or so, but then the video would be miles too long. So the deck that we're talking about is the Reincarnation cards, Awakening Far Memory. I do have another video on here where I've used them before. It's discover yourself, remember what you were and who you are, remember past and future incarnations, and wake up from a dream life. It's in 5 different sections. There's cards inside, and it's got a book what talks you through it and what have you, and it's sort of like different sections of a life, and it kind of gives you the bones of a particular lifetime that you lived. This is something I believe in, past lives. Some people do, some people don't. Like I said, I do. So this is a reading using these as bare, like just the kind of like the outline of that particular life. And I also pulled a couple of cards for each card using this deck, the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. Now the thing with past life readings is it's very interesting how your intuition kicks in from what you're getting, and the longer you sit with it and meditate on it and all this and journal on it, the more information will come out. But like I said, I haven't done too much of that because of the time period, but also the video would just be miles too long to get it all out. So the first section that you get is the occupation in that lifetime. Now, I didn't get an occupation, I got a beggar. So to me, that indicates that this life was a life of poverty. Born into poverty, my whole life was one of poverty, and I probably would have had to have begged to make a life, for my everyday needs, if you like. So I pulled a couple of cards, and interestingly, I got the Hierophant and the 2 of, let's see if I hold it like that, and the 2 of Pentacles. So the Hierophant to me it's like that card of tradition, isn't it? It's the church, and it's the boundaries and the religious institutions of the day, their methods and their values, and the limits and that causes for certain people of the time. The 2 of Pentacles is all about the day-to-day demands and the juggling of the demands for the time. Like, for example, it's what I'm looking at my notes. For example, the church was a pervasive force in people's lives in medieval time, for example, with the power of the Catholic Church. Those who disputed the church's teachings were seen as heretics, and ridiculed and ostracised, while other faiths were barely even tolerated. So from this, I kind of got the feeling that this was a time then when the church was such an important part in everyday life for people. If you didn't follow their rules and by their boundaries and what have you, if you was from a different faith, then you was ostracised. You wasn't included in everyday life in a meaningful way. So that was what I the first ideas I was getting with these cards, that I was more than likely born into poverty, but because of the structure of the day at the time, which was highly religious, one religion, if you didn't pertain to that, then your life was made very difficult. So that's what I got from those cards. The second one was the culture. so the culture that you live this life in, and it was the Celtic, so the Celtic country. It surprised me when I actually looked in the book that the Celtic countries aren't just the ones you normally would think of. It did at one time come from Italy right across Europe into West Europe, which includes the ones that you normally think of: Ireland, Scotland and England, the English Isles. So, but it was the Celtics anyway. And the cards that I did ask for more information about living in these times in this Celtic culture, and I got the King of Swords and the 10 of Wands. So the King of Swords in this sort of respect kind of speaks to a time when it was probably a bit of misuse of power, a tyrannical kind of time, a lot of violence, very oppressive. And again, the 10 of Wands sort of talks of that oppression as well, and very judgmental time. It probably even could have been a ruler who was very tyrannical or power hungry and controlling, or it could have just been the actual environment, you know. And of course the 10 of Wands is that heavy burden and the struggles that you was facing, and feeling totally overwhelmed by the life of the time. So that's what I kind of picked up with those. The next section is your environment. So the environment that this lifetime, you know, was. And I got mountain. Now this was quite interesting because there is obviously some Celtic countries what do have these mountainous areas. But also in the book, when you read the book, it does say, if you take a look at the card, it's just one person sitting in a cave and kind of looking out, and it's indicative of self-contemplation. And the cards that I pulled with that was the Judgment card and the 10 of Swords. So to me, this was sort of, whereas the, you know, it was saying the mountain could be a place of contemplation and being self-imposed, making, you know, it's kind of like a self-imposed contemplation where you've actually sort of kind of took yourself away from everyday life and deliberately sort of chose this path, if you like. And that was what I would kind of getting the feeling with this. But then with the other two cards, I'm just seeing what I'm written down. Yeah, it's talking about the society, deliberately forsaking the actual society of the day. The 10 of Swords often makes you feel, you know, like you're completely defeated by it all, and you got, you know, completely exhausted by trying to live this life, and totally exhausted, facing enemies when you would have enemies at that time if you didn't stick to the strict rules and boundaries that you were supposed to live in. And it would have been feeling completely at rock bottom, like you would have been rock bottom in this lifetime. Do you know what I mean? It would have put you the bottom of the pile. And then with the Judgment, again, it brings up that self-reflection, you know, the realization, what, you know, this card talked about. So that was sort of like a double with the same meaning. So this must have been a time that there was a time in this life where I kind of took myself off, had a bit of an awakening, sort of realization, if you like, that I was where I was because of the path that I had taken, that it was a struggle, and my only way to kind of get through it on a daily basis was to take myself away from that society that did have so much so many boundaries and so much judgmental towards people, you know, and a struggle daily. So it's sort of like I've took myself away from the society and all that it did. But of course that would have left me in a place of not being able to earn a living, not making money. So this, you know, wouldn't have helped with the poverty. 2 seconds, I just dropped a card. there we go. Oh, no, I dropped it again. Oh, excuse me. Butterfingers today. Right, so the next section was life theme. What was that my life theme in that particular life? And I got abundance and penury. And obviously I lived on not the abundant side. My life wasn't abundant in this life that I was talking about. And the cards that I pulled with that list, strangely, was the Ace of Pentacles and the Three of Wands. So the Ace of Pentacles is the one is a card that you think of representing security and financial opportunity, stability and abundance. And the Three of Wands is then talks about, you know, opportunities and achieving what you set out to do. And, you know, obviously I wasn't on that side of the abundance penury life. And maybe if I'd have been born in different circumstances, maybe if I'd lived by the rules and regulations of the church, this could have been the life that I had, but I didn't. And so the opposite was, in fact, what happened in that lifetime for me, because I wasn't going to be controlled by the church, or it wasn't my belief, or whatever the reasoning was behind it. Again, that would be further work that I'd have to do to kind of get to the roots of it. This is just like a overall look. So this is what brings abundance into your life, you know, taking these opportunities and having these opportunities, but they wasn't open to me at this time. So my life wasn't full of abundance. It was full of wanting and that beggar card, you know, the being poor and just not having anything. And I guess the choices that we make dictate the path that we go down. And that wasn't the path that I took and the path I went down to. So I didn't have a life of abundance. I had a life of not having much at all, if anything. So the last card was termination. So how did that lifetime terminate? And I got suicide. And with the suicide, I got the Seven of Pentacles and the Five of Pentacles. So again, we've got the Seven of Pentacles, which talks about patience and perseverance and reviewing things, or reviewing up to date sort of thing, and taking stock of everything. And then the Five of Pentacles is, you know, that you're just losing all faith, feeling the world's against you, poverty, probably even illness, do you know what I mean? And you wouldn't have been able to afford any kind of care. And if you couldn't afford to eat, then illness wasn't going to be far behind, was it? But and this, you know, again made me stop and think, because you always consider think of the Five of Pentacles as that church in the background and in outside of the church. So again, it was that feeling of the oppression of the church and the time that this lifetime took part in. So I decided that it wasn't obviously worth continuing, because I couldn't change my views against, you know, of how I felt about the church, and there wasn't no opportunities and paths open to me for that reason. So I was going to be forever feeling this poverty. So I decided that that was it, you know, time to move on to a better life in another, you know, some people call it heaven, don't they? But another, you know, alternate place, wherever we go when this lifetime is over. It's different for us all. But yeah, so this was a hard life, a life of poverty, a life of struggle, of oppression, brought by the diktats of the day, the life of the day, the church of the day, and the importance that played in the role of the lives of people. And if you didn't follow that path, then you was ostracised, and that would seem what happened to me in this lifetime. So like I said, now I would kind of sit with that meditate on it, pull more cards on different areas of it, get a bigger picture of continuing, and build up a more stronger, fully, lifetime. But that is just like the bare bones that I've just kind of talked with you about there. But I wanted to come on and do this because I did say to Julia I would, and it might interest other people, it might not. But thanks for listening anyway, and you'll have to let me know what you think and what kind of ideas that come into your head when you saw the cards. And I will speak to you later. Bye.